Africa. It is an early morning, Tuesday, 7th of November 2021, here in Kampala. Wherever you're watching from, we bid you good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time zone that you're in. But here in Kampala, it's a Tuesday morning, and we say good morning, Africa, good morning, the world at large. This is Behold Africa, and I am your host, Jude Klein, and my co-host,
Now, sure, Brenda, good morning, Africa, good morning, everybody watching us live here in Kampala. As usual, this is still Behold Africa, and Behold Africa will bring you the news happening all over the world, what's happening on the social media platform, and what are some of those stories that you're missing out in Africa within. And we tell you that as you're always watching us on our social media platform, be it YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, or be it Twitter, we still use the same name, It's Media. And you can also share the link for others to follow us and get engaged in today's discussion. Don't forget, Behold Africa is brought to you by the Fundamental Rights and Protectors who say your rights matter and they're there to protect them for you.
yes, and for that matter, the week has just begun, and there's a lot that is supposed to be done throughout the week. It's a Tuesday. Yesterday was a Monday. Most of us reported resumed work on a Monday, especially here in Kampala. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are usually the busiest days of the week because it's just the beginning. And for those of us who work in the offices, it's usually one of those corporate days where you have a lot of desk work to do, a lot of paperwork to accomplish before you begin entering the moods of the weekend, which usually start around the fourth day, which is Thursday, and probably Friday, where people become getting reluctant. The weekend is around the corner, most of the work has been done. But yes, for those of you who are heading to work early this morning, well, the weather is just fine. It didn't rain last night. This is in the parts of Kampala. But, one of these days the weather is very unpredictable. So just in case you're heading to the office, or, you're just heading out of the house, carry a jacket, carry a sweater, because it's better to be prepared than being caught off guard. The traffic jam is as usual, it's a Tuesday, so expect some jam on several intersections leading in and out of the city. And with that, you'll be safe. At least you'll be informed on where you're going and what's happening in front of you or whatsoever.
And we always ask you, where are you catching us live here for us here in Kampala? Where are you on your way to work? Are you in the car? Are you still in bed? But we all tell you that it's an early morning, that always you have to be focused in the morning and get going. There is that energy you need to release when it's early morning. You just have to go and do something, make yourself busy, because we all know you have to struggle. Life is all about struggling, and we have the ambitions that we all following. But still, let us just go straight into our news, starting with our news. There is an alarm that the fight of malaria has been distributed and has been replaced by the COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an alarm that it has brought an impact where we are seeing the emergency in the high rate of death of people dying in malaria, and also cases of people who are still suffering with malaria.
Exactly.
Well, when you look at the rates and the scores going on all over the world, this is not only within Africa but all over the world. Now the report coming that it's estimated that over 241 million cases of malaria have emerged, and we have 627,000 malaria deaths. When I read this story, I'm like, this is a lot.
Yes, these are very, very high numbers, especially the death rates.
Yeah.
But I think it's safe to say, with the pandemic, as it was, a lot of things were disrupted, a lot of things were off balance, they were offset, and including malaria. You remember in the first lockdown here, movement between one place and another was restricted. It was very hard for you to move from here probably to go to Nansana or Kawempe, where you could have gotten your malaria dosages or something, or even buying a net.
Well, even when you talk about, now our viewers going into the details of the report, they say when they relate the difference between 2019 and 2020, the cases, there is a difference of 14 million cases of COVID, of malaria, and the death are 69,000 of deaths that increased when you look at the difference between 2019 and 2020. 20, that's a high rate. But you cannot forget that it's because we all know that we are all the COVID-19 emerged and we lost our track. I wouldn't say lost our track, but we try to focus on the immediate problem that we had then, that was COVID-19, because we all know COVID-19, if it didn't react, it was going to spread all over. But now with malaria, not only malaria, because you earlier say that we forgot a lot of other missions and our struggles that are going, but not even only malaria, we have also seen cases of HIV hiking, because there are people who are not accessing the ARVs. So the alarm or the report on malaria report said that there is the substitute, or there is malaria fight has been disrupted by the COVID-19 due to the cause that we had to draw our attention back to COVID-19, not even forgetting, but we prioritized COVID-19, and we forgot that even malaria is killing, and that's where the rates increased and the fight. So that is an alarm that arose, and this is like a reminder to the public and everybody there. Please do what you can. As you're fighting COVID-19, you're following the SOPs, but are you sleeping with the mosquito net? How are you engaging yourself to fight against the malaria? Because we all know you have to work hand in hand. This is not one-sided. That
is true. Now, of course, the World Health Organization came out and spoke about this. We have a report and a video that we're going to play for you shortly. But yes, as Brenda has asked, what are you trying to do? Yes, we're fighting COVID. We're trying to keep ourselves, safe from COVID. We're wearing our masks, safeguarding ourselves from COVID. But how about the times you're going back into your bed? At one point, even if you go to the public, you're wearing your mask and so forth. But when you go back home, it's your bed and you're going to sleep there, probably alone or probably with your family. What are you doing to safeguard your family from malaria? I remember back in primary, they used to teach us some basic things about how to fight malaria. Clearing the ponds around. It's been a rainy season.
The bushy areas.
Exactly. It's been a rainy season, and you expect that there should be some ponds of water probably surrounding your compound or even outside your gate. Some people these days say, "Oh, me, I live in a gate, I live in a fence, I'm not going to be affected by those things." You are definitely going to be affected by them. If there's a bush outside your fence wall, even if it's not your garden, even if it's not your land, if there's a bush outside your wall, your fence wall, once the mosquitoes start breeding, they're of course going to fly into your compound also, so you're not safe. Your family is not safe. So what are we doing to safeguard ourselves from malaria? Are you clearing that stagnant water? Are you slashing your compounds? These are some of the are you sleeping under the mosquito net? And these are some of the things that help us safeguard ourselves from malaria. And the infection of mosquitoes. They usually come in at around 6 there. Someone needs to say, probably I'll confuse them and sleep under the bed instead of sleeping on the bed. That will not help you, So sleep under the mosquito net, clear those ponds, slash around your compounds, and we can probably fight malaria. And if symptoms arise, go seek medical attention before malaria kills.
And it's a waste of a loss if you protect yourself on COVID-19, because even if you're following the SOPs, it's because you still need your life. Then as you're doing so and you're following the SOPs and even you're staying safe, that is, I'm relating to HIV, you're staying safe and you're living your life in a safe way. Also try to protect yourself from malaria, because you never know, it may get to you and it will weaken you and you will be one of the cases. So be off guard and you safeguard yourself on all the alarming cases that can lead to your death. Let us give you a video of that story.
Data from the WHO has revealed that the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted malaria services, leading to an increase in cases and deaths. An estimated 14 million more cases and 69,000 more deaths were recorded in 2020.
In this year's World Malaria Report, we recognize that neither in terms of reduction of deaths or reduction of cases are we making any further progress. We have stalled. I think we are on the verge of a potential malaria crisis, where not only are we getting closer to elimination and eradication globally, but the problem becoming worse in a substantial number of parts of Africa. This calls for a renewed sense of purpose, of action, of addressing what is far from being a unfinished agenda. It is still a massive global health problem that needs to be tackled with decisiveness and having countries, the endemic countries themselves, leading the charge.
As part of interventions to reduce the infection rate, the WHO earlier this year recommended a first-generation malaria vaccine to be deployed broadly to children living in areas of moderate to high transmission.
The significance of these two announcements, first the WHO recommendation, secondly the Gavi endorsement, is, I believe, truly historical. We need new tools. With the tools we have right now, we can save lives, and we have saved lives. But we cannot imagine that we will go on making the type of progress that is needed. We need also technological tools. We need new vaccines. We need new medicines. And the fact that for the first time a malaria vaccine can join the other tools that we have to more effectively fight malaria, to reduce what we estimate an extra 40 to 80,000 deaths of African children every year, is a scientific and public health breakthrough.
Sub-Saharan Africa continues to carry the heaviest malaria burden, accounting for about 95% of all malaria cases and 96% of all deaths in 2020.
Well, as you've seen the video, that is the case, and the replacement of the fight in malaria and also COVID-19. That's what they had to say in the video, but also we put it to you as an individual. What are you doing in relation to protecting yourself and also your loved ones, even people near you? So in that, we leave it to that. But now we're going into our other news. We are all aware, we are talking about COVID-19, that we all know that there is a new variant that is called the Omicron. The Omicron emerged from South Africa, and ever since then, various cases have also emerged in other European countries, and we have seen a total travel ban has been given to the South African community. But now South Africa has come in and they say, and the report is, South Africa is punished for detecting the new Omicron. Well, they, as the community of South Africa, they came in and they say they're disappointed because they, instead of being uploaded for discovering the new Omicron, instead they're being punished. And how are they doing so? That is through banning them from traveling to other countries. But we are all aware it didn't only stop in South Africa. We have seen various cases of the Omicron emerging in other countries. Ladies, we talked about the Germany has 2 cases, and also other cases have been emerged in the European countries. They have 2 cases in the UK. We also have the Belgium also had 1 case. In Italy they had 1 case. Czech Republic also has 1 case, and Israel also confirmed a case. But now what Israel did, it put a total ban from all other European countries, and they said this is going to last as long as for 14 days, and they saw it goes, because they never know and they don't want to take a risk. But in relation to that, South Africa said that this is unfair to them because they came out and they are the ones who said, well, look, there is a new variant. Instead of them being appreciated for what they did, for their discovery, they are just being haunted for it, and they say they're not happy on that.
That is true. Now we have a clip that we're going to share with you about this very report, but what I can tell you about is South Africa's president has been going especially around Africa. Last week he was in Nigeria, still talking about this very thing of South Africa and most of the parts of Southern Africa. Most countries right there have been banned and put on some sort of red list from very many European countries, and travel bans have been instated on them. Now, yesterday he was meeting with Senegal's president, and with having talks about this very instance where it seems unfair that the very people who discovered Omicron are being punished for discovering the variant, which sort of makes sense. Yeah, you should be giving applause that they have actually made a discovery, a very, very good discovery. That way we can find one way or another, or about fighting this new of coming about this new variant. What are we going to do about it, instead of having to bans on travel? Because as I've stated before, by putting a ban on international travel, it's going to affect the country's economy, both locally and internationally. Because most countries benefit so much from the taxes. We're talking about importation. We're talking about even cargo transport. We're talking about even the individual transportation. Once this is put on a halt, it's going to affect the country's economy one way or another. But yes, South Africa has raised this complaint over and over and over, and a lot of this is being looked into by.
Well, to me, I would say they shouldn't be disappointed. It's not like that kind of punishment, but rather for them coming out and they say, hey, look, I'm in danger, or I'm sick and this and this and this, please. Okay, what for them, they should suggest ways on how they can mitigate it and how they can go up. But because we all know that new Omicron, it's very virulent and it's spreading on a high rate, what would you expect from other countries? If you came in and made an alarm and you said, we have a sick person who is sick and this, would you be willing for me to come into your house?
Well, if you can offer some sort of assistance, then...
No, if you want assistance from me, it's okay. But the only way I can also protect myself from even the people within me or people around me, it's avoiding me getting into contact. Not until we establish the treatment for this. You get? Not until, because we all know how much we have seen COVID-19, we have following the SOPs and going for vaccination, but that does not guarantee that it's not going to get to you. So not until I see they come out with a solution that is more essential for everybody, for them discovering it was a good thing at least to alarm everybody and say, hey, there is a new Omicron, you should be on alert, because you never know, it may be a person coming from South Africa, but not only South Africa, we have seen also other cases. We have seen new people coming in from other South African areas, and they are also infected with the Omicron. So this is just an alarm to let you know that there is a new Omicron. Everybody should be essential, but this calls for mitigation and finding ways on how to avoid it. They always say prevention is better than cure.
True. Prevention is always better than cure.
So I would say South Africa as a country should not take it so personal, but we applaud them for discovering the new Omicron and they created the alarm, and their main issue is they should be even appreciated and they should be in a good happy state that they discovered it and they let the world, at least even if they're on then they'll ban from traveling in other areas, but we all know that ban will be lifted because we have all been there.
Question is, when will it be lifted?
When was COVID-19 ban lifted? So it's just a time frame. Let us see how it's going to take. And that banning is not that they're doing it, but that is the quickest solution you can see there and then, as you're finding better ways on how to solve that problem. Yeah.
But
let us give you a video of that and we see. And also, please get engaged into the discussion. What do you think about that story? Let us share that story.
That we're experiencing on the African continent, but also
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa and Senegalese President Macky Sall have expressed their displeasure towards rich countries over travel bans imposed on South Africa since the country announced the discovery of a new coronavirus variant, Omicron. We must continue to work together in solidarity. This pandemic, which is affecting all our countries, must bring us together on the side of solidarity in our response instead of adding a new divide between rich and poor countries.
Entre pays riches et pays pauvres.
This was during the opening of the 7th edition of the Dakar International Forum on Peace and Security in Africa on Monday. Ramaphosa tasked rich countries to help find a solution to the problem.
When South African scientists discovered, as President Macky Sall was saying, Omicron, the new variant, they immediately took on the responsibility of informing the world that a new variant has come through. And what is the result? The northern countries impose a ban to punish the excellence that comes from Africa. They basically say, we will not allow you to travel around. But lo and behold, Omicron is spreading all over the world.
He accused rich countries of giving only the crumbs to poor nations in their distribution of the coronavirus vaccines.
Well, as you've seen the video, that is South Africa for you and their disappointment for being punished for them discovering the Omicron. Now that we leave it there, but also we go into other news and we go there straight in Sudan. We are all aware that Sudan has been having various protests from the country and the citizens. This is due to the reinstating of the prime minister there. But in the recent, he was finally released and he was left. But ever since then, people have not taken it calmly. Now there is also a new protest that happened on Monday. Other people went on the streets and they striked, and trust me, tear gas was fired against the crowd in Khartoum. Well, unlike the previous protests that have been violent and they are losing even lives, like in the previous one, there is one that where they 15 people were killed in the incidents. This one has not been so much violent, but still there was a margin of people on the streets protesting. Still, they're still on what happened in October of reinstating the Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, and as they're doing so, they are marching, or they are heading to the presidential palace, and the police didn't let them to even get there. They took action there and then.
Yes. Now, of course, this follows the coup that came about when the military took over the country, took over the government, dissolving the civilian government, which was in power by that time. This happened 2 months ago, which was October 25th, when the military took over the government. Now, of course, a lot of protests have been occurring from time to time. This is in Sudan, especially in the capital Khartoum and around some of the cities around Khartoum. Now, as of October, the military decided to reinstate the Prime Minister, who is Hamdok, but still the pro-civilian government has still not accepted this fully. They want a full government, not just reinstating one person, of which I think at one point this makes sense. You can't tell me you're going to reinstate just one person and you expect us to actually go your way, and you're like, you know what, yeah, you have brought our person, yeah, let's stop there. No, but this is what's happening in Sudan, and the protesters have gone on the streets. They're like, you know what, we still want the civilian government back. We do not want just one person who is the prime minister sitting in between an army government, because at one point it still doesn't make sense that you're having a civilian governor for the civilians, and then the rest of the government is military. And this is why the protesters are going on the streets and raising their complaints. And we have seen, as Brenda has stated, we have seen a lot of deaths in the past from these protests, where there was a lot of violence during these protests, and at the same time, the military, the forces fired live ammunition onto the crowds, killing a number of them. But what happened yesterday was, it was a little bit chilled back, where they just fired only rounds of tear gas. Of course, tear gas stings. Yeah, for those of you who have ever faced tear gas, or you have ever been in a protest or something like that, yes, tear gas also affects you one way or another. But at least it's more light a punishment, or more light of too much force than what they were doing previously by firing live ammunition onto the crowd. So, but yes, the protesters are being relentless, and they say, we are not going to stop until you give us our civilian government back. We're not going to stop until the military steps down from power. We're not going to stop until we see the leaders, at least there is some sort of democracy in the country. But until that, we are ready to put our lives on the line to fight for what is rightfully ours, and that is the right to freedom. Because, as you know, the military took over the government, and at the same time, that means everything else is being controlled by the government, by the military. That includes the economy, the transportation, the medication, and so much more. And this is the reason why these protests are happening, and why they are very frequent. And yeah, the military and the forces are trying to push back the protesters, don't go on the streets, by using some of these tactics, but we have not seen that they work in most instances.
But ever since, even when they released the president or the prime minister, when they set him free, he came in and said, this is not right, hey, I'm back, but please leave the floor for us, leave the place or the country, let the governance be for the people, don't get involved in these issues. And ever since, he called everybody to get engaged, and I believe that's why the people are even still on the streets. But the military are claiming to be so stubborn that they're not hearing anything, and they're continuing with their rule. But let us see where this is going to lead.
Yes, a report was covered by this, and we have this very report right here on Behold Africa. We're going to play the video clip for you. You know, this is what we bring to you here on Behold Africa. You know, we'll be talking about these stories because some of you might not find a way of sourcing them, and this is why we bring you these stories so that you're brought up to speed. You know, a friend of mine from Sudan actually told me, you know what, I don't live in Sudan, but I first got to know about what's happening in Sudan from your show, and I'm like, bravo. So yes. You know, if you don't keep it locked on Behold Africa, just a reminder, some of these stories you might not source them anywhere.
Yeah.
But let us dive into the report that was covered about this very instance from Sudan. Here's a clip for you.
Thousands of Sudanese took to the streets on Monday in the capital of Khartoum and other cities in the latest protest against the October military coup and a subsequent deal that reinstated Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok. Footage circulated on social media supposedly showed demonstrators marching in different locations in Khartoum and its sister city Omdurman. Security forces fired tear gas to disperse protesters marching in the street near the presidential palace in Khartoum. There were no immediate report of casualties. In past rounds of demonstrations, security forces used violence, including live ammunition, against protesters, according to activists. At least 44 protesters have been killed and hundreds wounded since the coup.
And yes, that is what is happening in Sudan, as you have seen right there in the videos and in the reports. But we hope this is resolved the soonest, and you know, a democratic government is put in place. But we leave Sudan and we go to Gambia, where Gambia has went into the polls over the weekend, you know, to bring a new government into power. But turns out the incumbent president has, you know, it's showing leads in that poll. Of course, the counting of votes is still ongoing, but we have noticed that there is there's a big gap between the incumbent president and, you know, whoever was opposing him. He has taken an early lead in the polls. Now, the government has been in power for about 2 terms so far, and you know, it was estimated that probably this year, you know, another government is going to step in. But you know what? The people still probably want the incumbent president to take over, you know, to continue pushing the country forward. And you know, they say some of the things that he has done have actually benefited the country, and they still want to see more of this, you know, being carried on by the same government, because he has done a lot for the people, you know. So yeah. But we also have a report about this that we're going to share with you shortly. But what you should know, Gambia was released from colonism, not long ago, and after that, of course, there was an offset balance between you know, trade and governance. But the new government, which has been ruling for the past 2 terms, has kind of stabilized the economy of Gambia, and at the same time, it has given people a lot of freedom, freedom to speech, freedom to, you know, do anything, you know. And these are the things that people always look out for. The citizens of any country, this is what they always look out for. And this was not the instance in the previous governance by the previous government, you know, before the one that has again been, you know, we're seeing that it might actually go back into power.
Well,
but yeah.
As even going, they should remind the public that President Bao took over the dictator. They called him the dictator. Yeah, the former Yahya, who was in charge by then. But ever since Bao came in, people have liked him and they embraced him, where he has emerged at least a win from out of the 53 districts in the nation of Gambia. He has emerged, at least he has scored himself a win out of the 40. Yeah, he has 40 wins in all the districts out of the 53, so he has at least 40. That is it shows already he's the winner.
Yes.
Because now let us see.
But yeah, we are just going to wait for the official. Of course,
yeah.
Even if you see the stats going up and you know who is the automatic winner, but still we wait for the official report for the announcement of the new president of Gambia. But with that, let's dive into a report that was covered about this very story. Here is a clip for you.
The Gambia's incumbent President Adama Barrow appeared on course for re-election Sunday. His partial result for most districts placed him in the lead after Saturday's crucial pause for the young democracy. Barrow, who ousted the former leader Yahya Jammeh 5 years ago, is well ahead of his main challenger Ousmane Dabo in results published in the afternoon by the Electoral Commission for almost 40 districts out of 53 nationwide. Nearly 1 million registered voters were expected to drop marbles into one of 6 ballot bins, each adorned with the face and name of a candidate. The candidates include incumbent President Adama Barrow, who defeated Jammeh in 2016 as an opposition leader. Independent Electoral Commission presiding officer Moussa Mbie told journalists that there were no major problems during the vote. The commission chair Aliou Momar Nji said election results will be announced by Monday. All the presidential candidates vow to strengthen the country's tourism-independent economy amid the coronavirus pandemic, so fewer Gambians feel compelled to travel the dangerous migration route to Europe. While the 2016 election that removed Jammeh from power after 22 years saw Gambians go from fear to election, many are still not satisfied with the progress the nation has made. Many Gambians want certainty that the new leader will bring the tiny West African nation of about 2.4 million towards peace and justice. The Gambia's incumbent President Adama Barrow appeared on course for re-election Sunday. His partial result for most districts placed him in the lead after Saturday's crucial pause for the young democracy. Barrow, who ousted the former leader Yahya Jammeh 5 years ago, is well ahead of his main challenger Ousmane Dabo in results published in the afternoon by the Electoral Commission for almost 40 districts out of 53 nationwide. Nearly 1 million registered voters were expected to drop marbles into one of 6 ballot bins, each adorned with the face and name of a candidate. The candidates include incumbent President Adama Barrow, who defeated Jammeh in 2016 as an opposition leader. Independent Electoral Commission presiding officer Moussa Mbie told journalists that there were no major problems during the vote. The commission chair Aliou Momar Nji said election results.
And that is what is happening in Gambia and in the world of politics over there. Now stay tuned. We are going to go into a short break. When we get back, we are diving into the trending stories. These are the trending stories on social media. What you do not know, we bring it to you live here on Behold Africa. Keep it locked. Don't go anywhere. Let's go into a short break.
My name is Bukenya Roke, and my dream is to become a physical engineer. So I follow youth media in order to pursue my dream. And I would encourage you to follow youth media on Facebook, Google, Twitter, in order to pursue also your dreams.
My name is Gita William. Engeri gye tuli mu COVID, like tetusobola ku accessing amasomero. Ade like bataddewo ekitongole website yaffe eya UTC Media batukubiriza abazadde bafundika like abaana baabwe basobola tufolowinga ku platform zaffe nga like Twitter, Facebook, IG, developing minds zaabwe in various technical activities such as abaana basobola oyiga website designing, graphic designing n'ebirala nga tebagenze kusomero naye nga baliyigidde waka. So tukubiriza abazadde bagulire abaana baabwe data bagezeeko okola subscribinga n'okufollowinga UTC Media bajja laba nga abaana bafuna ekintu
njeko basebo ne banyawo amanya gange itiwa mugisha gansimira nga ndi muyizo okuba ekitangala high school. Ndi wano okubategeeza nti nze nandiyagadde okubeera modo oba kazanyiriza oba actor ajjudde. Era ndi wano okubategeeza nti olwa corona twajjiddwa ebintu bingi, tubumbiddwa ebintu bingi nga for example TV bakali bwe tuli abaana bangi ffenna tugikozesa tetusobola laba kye twagala at the same time. Kadi for example nze njalabya abamodo baganda bange bagala kyawe kati kyawo tubeera tugera kulwanira TV kyeneebaza kyejabo bagamba nti olwa youth media omutimbagano omupya batukoleddeyo youth media tukoleddeyo website yaffe empya wetusobola okujja buli kimu kyetwetaaga so nandyagadde baganda bange abalala kati nganze ngenda nengoyera ku modo benjagala n'ebirala ebintu bye nandyagadde okulaba era namwe mbakubiriza mugende namwe mugende mu youth media musobole okulaba kye mwagala ate kisinga nabo ya ku masimu gammwe ku laptop byonna byonna gadgeti ze mulina.
On Behold Africa here on Youth Media. Youth Media is our first webcasting station that you cannot get anywhere, and we tell you that you can get us on various social media platforms, be it YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. You're also the please just even get us on our website. We still use Youth Media. You can just and you can grab and see various groups that we have been talking about. And on the Youth Media, you don't only talk about Behold Africa. No, we have various shows that you're missing out. We have Mama Mia, we have Health Clinic, we have the Youth Sport. We also have nowadays we brought you the fashion area for those who are interested in fashion. That's a show you shouldn't miss. We have also the Rock. What can I say? More and more shows, and we have various shows that are also going to be we are introducing for you the public as we are going into the festive seasons. You are here planning for you what you can sit on down, and you don't need to be disturbed. And you say maybe I need to go there, but I'm missing the story. No, you can if you're on Youth Media, you can get it anywhere. You can, even if you're in your bed, maybe you're going to work, wherever you are, even if you're at work already. Now, don't forget, Behold Africa is brought to you by the Fundamental Rights and Protection, who say rights matter and that to protect them for you. And in this segment, we bring you the trending stories, some of those stories that are trending all over social media platforms, on Facebook, anywhere. You just can't get them anywhere apart from here in Behold Africa. But before I go any further, I would like to remind you, for those who need spare parts, and for your motorcycles, Chiyemba Spare Parts is telling you can go to him. He's located at Kasana, and you can get him on 07794898836, other line which is 0755276550. And I always remind you, for those in case you need windows, any metal fabrication, you need water drillers, and or you can go to Gold Grace Metal Works. They have the best quality metal products, and you can get them on 0781315998, and other line which is 0759377206. They are located on Bukasa Sentema. Straight away, this segment we begin with the trending stories, but even I go in, we still have to a story that is going on here in Uganda. And that story is related to university. Well, we all know that university, as you go into the university, you are given that freedom. But what is happening amongst the university students that are wondering, this kind of university, which is known as the Bishop University, that came out with the new rules. And the rules are so strict that all the male students, they're not supposed to put on sandals in case you're on the campus. And also, they're not supposed to put on damaged jeans or trousers or shirts while at campus premises. And also, female, if you're female, are restricted from putting on mini skirts. I earlier, even within when you go deeper the story, they say even if you're not supposed to put on to apply to have a tattoo on your body. Well, that is happening, and people are wondering, like, is this a university or it's a primary school or what?
But at some point, I agree with some of to some extent, I agree with some of the rules.
Like
here.
what?
Like the one for miniskirts. You know, there should be some governance around this. Actually, probably for all universities.
No, when you come to miniskirts, then you should limit it all over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like to all campuses, all universities, when it comes to miniskirts, because there is some level of decency that we should all, have.
Okay.
But
what of damaged jeans and damage,
for damage, I don't know. I wouldn't have a big problem with that, because you're not exposing a lot of skin. Just probably your knees or I don't know. But for damages, it's a bit understandable. But
like, the reason why, if it's sometimes you may say it's understandable, but what the first impression somebody sees when you put on those damaged clothes, they look at you as somebody who's a vagabond or something related to that. So I believe in that relation that the university administration said, hey, look, no, we are not entertaining vagabonds on the school campus. We want decent who have put on, you are smartly dressed, you come on campus. And here there are also those people who have dreads. Even if you're male, you're not supposed to go in school.
Now that is going to become a challenge. So the university we're talking about is Bishop Stewart University, and they have come on board with very, very harsh conditions. They're very harsh rules, and I don't know where this has come from. I agree with some of the rules, like for example miniskirts. That one I totally agree. It should cut across all universities. This one should actually cut across all universities because, as I've spoken about indecency, being decent is one of the core values of any student.
Let me tell you, somebody can put on a miniskirt and they tell you, I'm decent. What do you
term
as...
now that breaks the definition of decent.
What would you term as decency?
You know, as long as you're not exposing a lot of skin, that is being decent. That's the dictionary explanation.
How do you quantify your a lot?
Like, a lot of skin?
Like,
I mean, if you're showing above your thighs, that is a lot of skin.
Then you should be clear that what marks decency is...
Well, look. As long as you have termed it as a lot of skin, we know miniskirts
no,
go
a lot
above
of
your thighs.
When you talk about a lot of skin, you should, because you cannot, you have no weighing scale that can say that this is a lot. You get, but maybe you can just come out clear and you say, if in case you put on something that is above your knee and people are able to see that above your knee, that is termed as indecency. In case you put on, so there are those who say they don't want sleeveless, like they don't want armless and all that, that can also be termed as indecency. So you just have to specify what you term as your indecency, because you may tell me a lot of skin and next day I'll come up when my back is showing and you tell me that is okay.
I don't think that's also okay.
You see, but so you just have to be specific on what you term as indecent.
Yeah, but other rules like not having dreads, I think that's a personal reason. Like I can opt to have dreads.
I understand why you support that and you feel not okay with them putting, because I know you like dreads.
Yeah, I do. That I can't disagree. But look, when it comes to your hair, they shouldn't begin directing someone on how they should cut your hair. Imagine I came to you, okay.
Then why would you direct me on how to put on, how to?
No. Look. There is a difference between your hair and how you wear. You know, how you're dressed.
Okay.
How you're dressed is either going to, you're going to draw a certain kind of crowd. You know. Now imagine you're wearing a skirt that is yay high, above your thighs, almost exposing your undies. Yeah, that is that's how do you expect the guys around you to act? There's going to be a certain way that you're treated. But when it comes to dreads, you can have your dreads smartly dressed, you even throw on a suit and you look perfect.
But even let us not treat these university students as kids. I'm not supporting, or I'm not disagreeing with the rules the university put on cross. But let us not take the university students as kids. There is a difference between a primary school, a secondary school, and also a university. A university, it's where you have that freedom to do whatever you want, but however much you have the guidelines, but they will never be the same as when you're
and at the same time, even if it's not just to doing whatever you want, most of us attend university at an adult age.
Yeah, that's what I'm
saying. So there's no way you begin telling a 25-year-old, a 27-year-old, hey, you can't wear sandals.
Now,
hey, you can't have it at all.
We have even people who are in universities, their parents already have given birth, and these people are more responsible, and we believe they are responsible. I would say somebody to be at a university level, they are responsible, or they are old enough to know what they are doing. So maybe the school can put those regulations that are in the line of the university campus, what portrays out the university appearance there. But still, somebody sent me this and they are complaining about it. I said, hey, this is a rule. They don't force you to go there. There are various universities existing. Please choose to go into another university that are
let me cut you short right there. You know, yes, we have several universities, but not all these universities offer what we like. You know, like for example, when I was hunting for my course, the one I did, there are not very many universities here in Uganda that actually offer software engineering. Yeah, and you are specifically forced to go to that specific university because it's what's offering what you have. But at the same time, just because they are giving you what you need, they should not again begin, you know, putting a lot of restrictions on you because, you know,
tying you down.
Exactly. That's it's tying you down. But that one there for miniskirts, I think it should be even looked at by the Ministry of Education.
Dreads.
And I don't know about dreads, but specifically miniskirts. That one should be looked at by even the Ministry of Education and reviewed across all campuses.
I won't be surprised when
to keep both the genders safe. That's what I say. I don't know how dreads are going to affect.
Let me remind you, Jude, don't babysit people.
It's not babysitting.
Let me remind, I'm not in support of miniskirts, and it's hard for me to even put them. But let me tell you, even if you ban them in the main campus, a child will live immediately. They step out of the campus, they are going to see this.
Look, that is no longer the campus's. That's no longer the campus's responsibility. But once you're on campus, there should be some sort of governance around this, so that to keep you safe while you're on campus. The school has done its bit. The rest is up to you. You're an adult. Go face the world. You know.
Well, how about this? Let me ask you. How about these gents who come and they're masculine and they're putting on only vests? What do you tell those?
How is that going to affect you?
You see. So the thing is, you as gents, you have those things that distract you, but even as ladies, there are those things that distract you.
Look. Like, here is an instance.
So
we got the beach, right? Yeah. All of us, I assume, we got the beach, right? When you got the beach, what distracts you most? A shirtless guy, or a knickerless girl? Which one will be worse? Just giving a comparison, because look, your upper torso and your lower torso are two different things.
No, we are all unless if you tell me you belong to that community, the LGBT community, but we are all attracted to opposite sex. There are people who I am attracted to opposite sex. I will not. Yeah, we're seeing a girl who has put on a miniskirt. That is the normal, and I won't even be attached. Like, I will leave that to that. Like, that girl put on a, but a guy having that muscular body and they're just putting on a vest. I'm telling you, that is the it will also distract. I'm just giving an example.
But anyways, Brenda, I'm going to cut you short. Let's leave this story because it can take the entire show while we're just discussing about this very story. Yet we have lots of stories for you, but we're going to leave this one to you. What should what Bishop Stewart University doing? Is it what's doing? Is it right? Is it is it okay for everyone? And should universities take on this kind of norm to put some regulations on how we dress and how we conduct ourselves while we are on campus grounds? But let us leave that story. We shall leave it to you. Probably we shall pick it up on next time. But as I said, we have lots of stuff to talk about here on the show. So yeah, we shall come back to this story later on. I mean, Brenda has another story that is very interesting in the world of entertainment. So yeah, let me let her explain to you what she has.
Well, I know you cut me short that for a reason, but I won't be surprised if one day you wake up and you come here in dreads. I won't be surprised because I know you love that. But we go into straight in other trending story. You have been talking about Grace Khan, the musician. Yeah, she's our local artist here in Uganda, and she has been trending in social media platforms for a time now because she has been heavily purported pregnant. And finally, yesterday, she gave birth to a baby girl, and the mother and the child, they're in the good state, which is good, and we are happy for her. As youth media, we congratulate you as a musician for giving birth and giving birth like normally without any complications, and no matter what, regardless of what has been going on, the stressful moments and what people have been saying in relation to the father of the child. We have been hearing that the father of the child denied the child. They say it was Prince Omal, but Prince Omal came in and they said, hey, we have never been intimate with that woman. No, we just met and we are just friends, but we don't have any relation or whatsoever.
And but I think now we're seeing the proof. We're going to share with you some photographs of the baby and the mother, but in relationship to that, I think now it's clear that Prince Omal is not the dad. basing on the pictures.
Come on.
I mean, the baby is white.
So, yeah. No.
So
no,
and Prince Omar is not white. I mean, all of us can see there on your screen. The baby is white. Prince Omar is black. So I don't. So we can draw that conclusion that Prince Omar is not the father of baby Grace Can.
Come on, Jude.
Okay, go on.
I wouldn't want you to be a dad who would want to say the child is not mine from the first time. No, just looking at the hand. We know.
No. I've actually seen a full picture of the baby.
But still,
the baby is white.
No, but still, it's so early to determine. That we shall see.
No. Look. I've held a number of babies. You know, us Africans have a different skin complexion to that of whites. I've held both a black baby and a white baby. There's a very big difference. No matter how light skinned we all come out, there is a very, very big difference. That baby is white. That I can tell you. I can assure you right here on camera, right here on this show. That baby is white. So we should start hunting for the white father.
You the onlooker, you are saying that baby is a white. If she belongs to the father is a white.
Yes.
Okay.
Most definitely. 1,000%.
I believe she's going to be still in the news. We shall see the baby is going to be growing.
Now we start for the hunt for the father, because we have eliminated Prince Omar is not the father. I hoped he was the father.
I don't eliminate the father being Prince Omar, not until the mother says so, and not until the baby grows and you see the picture.
No, me, I don't need to see that baby grow. I know he's white.
Maybe Prince Omar has that white.
No. But anyways, that's the story behind Grace Can and giving birth. We congratulate her on this is a milestone. She's now a mother, and there's a lot of speculation here and there. Even me, I'm here speculating whether the baby is white or not. But yes, this is what is trending around her and what's happening. But yes, we congratulate her on giving birth to a bouncing baby girl, and I hope they're both. We know they are healthy, but I hope they keep being healthy. And all of this goes and is put to rest once everything is put in the limelight. But moving away from Uganda, we go to Nigeria, where a gentleman was filmed, selling allegedly medical products, but it turned out to be corrosive substance. Now, the police has come out and said no arrests have been made in relationship to this, but I think it is, it's taking too long for him to actually get arrested, because if someone had ingested this substance, it would have been, catastrophic, even causing death. But yes, we're going to play for you a video clip when this guy was filmed, and no further information has been released about this in relationship to him or his names or where he's from or something like that. But all we know is he's a gentleman who was selling corrosive substance and stating that it was medication. What sort of medication, we're yet to find out, and we're yet to also find out if the police is going to take an action against this or not. But let's play for you a video clip that was filmed during this instance, and you see it for yourself. Here is a clip for you.
You go do this thing. You go do this thing.
See what they are selling. Bring another takeaway. You pay. See what they are selling.
This thing, you go do this thing here. You go do this thing here. You go do that here.
Take a look at this. This is a new one. This is a new takeaway. This is a new takeaway. You can see the way he's chopping the takeaway. He's sitting on people's kidney. This is the aboki that is selling. Anywhere you see them, please beat them off. Beat them off.
And yes, that is the video that I'm talking about, and as you can see clearly, whatever he was selling was very corrosive, and to the extent it started burning plastic that was poured upon. Now, I think the police should take action on this very instance. In Uganda here you see street hawkers. They sell to you a lot of stuff.
Well,
No.
that not only streets hawkers, but that remains. We have our local herbalists who sell local herbs and all that. But there are very many local herbalists who are selling drugs that are not yet confirmed, or they are not yet checked, and they're stamped in by the UNBS.
Yes.
And we don't know what they're selling, whether it's really authorized in the human body and all that, and the UNBS have come in and say people stop selling what they have not authorized. Now, in relation to that, people even if you have regulations, there are those people who, I'll call them innovators. They will just come up and innovate anything and they bring it on the market, but it goes back to you, the public. What are you purchasing? If you are a person who will just find something on the street and you're easily deceived that this will work for you without even having to see, like, is this authorized, especially if you're inhaling it or you're taking it in your body. We all know you should be very critical what you take in your body, because you never know, it may be shortening your life. Now, for example, that video, imagine if you took that and you say it was healing you on whatever the seller was saying. If it managed to do that to a plastic, what will happen to you as a human being?
Exactly. Once you ingest it, most definitely that's going to either cause a severe injury or even death. But that is what is happening, and we hope some action is taken against this. But we always end this segment with a trending trailer, and our trending trailer is called... Can you guess what it's called?
No, I don't want to
Now, let me
spoil
guess for you today's trending trailer. It's called The Army of Thieves. And The Army of Thieves is adventure, and as you have heard through the movie, the name, it has some theft involved. But it's not here to advertise about theft, but it's just entertainment. Let us dive into the trending trailer of today, which is The Army of Thieves. Please do enjoy. That is The Army of Thieves for us. If you have enjoyed The Den of Thieves, if you have enjoyed Italian Job, if you enjoy Money Heist, which is still ongoing, I am most definitely sure you'll enjoy The Army of Thieves. Reason being, it's out, so you can stream it or buy it in whichever movie shop you see fit. But with that, it marks the end of this segment. The show is still going on. This is still Behold Africa, but for trending stories, they end right here. We are going to go into a short break. When we get back, we dive into the top world stories. Stay locked. Don't go anywhere. Let's go into a short break.
Mbere nisoma sinyathiri then kwizire COVID-19 wasitopingamu konka balitaho omusomo gw'okwegira aha simu kugwizire nafunaho ekitongole nakita UTC Media kiine ebikwegise kale ekyo ekitongole kyegese eminyeeto kiine engeri ekikukwegisamu kiiwe nk'omuntu, then waheza nofunamu eki waba noyenda kukora, mbwenu kanye oyine ekirooto ky'okuba omunamahurire, then kanye then twasitokire okwega nza kukifunamu okwo nabo nibaasa kunyongerayo kufunako ekirooto kyangye, then nimpabira abazaire bitu okutogorera amasimu ga smartphone, then nyo nkanye Diana kulimbe ntine smartphone ndenda kuza kufuna ekyo kitongole, then kumperize nimpabira abazaire okugurira abaana data smartphone, then kweyongerayo ha birooto byabo, then nanye ekyo nibyo nambinire.
Demva kueringa zwarwe maratsaba momberusi tomu atikui mandra ikoseyo nzezu mipe TV ya Youth Media. Youth Media re mirisu lugala masana fwa eroduko ti medri okoko di yizi sadrie and yo midiza ba kwesi de woro kedi Youth Media re eringa solve in time. also youth media re TV bano vele online de sa de yo de madran ZPM vo koremicha kwedi ne mitale mini TV na mvani yokini ile ma cartoon ne ya mvani mini remote you do remote go attack madresra kini ile ma cartoon ne so mita jero mina rikata piruri medi ni yangon rarko medi blesi cartoon kumva madre nini ra medi simungwa bedroom e kadu bedroom e bo yo ra kidi sa mini nyandri youth media be medi sa
obadde okimanyi nti abantu bawooma waaw kituufu abantu bawooma naye abasajja bawooma wabula ate waliwo abasajja abasinga bannaabo okuwooma wena n'owulira n'ogamba nti tosubwa abasajja 15 abasinga okuwooma mu nsi yonna kiki ekibafuula abawoomu ani abalonze era bategedde batya nti bawooma ebyo byonna birindirire wano ku UTC Media, the first webcasting television in Africa. Kuva ng'ennaku z'omwezi 5 paka ennaku z'omwezi 10 December.
Was the trending story. Well, always in that segment there are those who will be waiting for the trailer. Hope you are eagerly waiting for you look upon that trailer, and it's at least it can keep you busy in the festive season that we're going to. Just makes yourself busy, and you cannot get that fun anywhere apart from Behold Africa. Well, this marks the beginning of this segment that is called the Top Hot Story, what is happening all over the world. Don't forget, Behold Africa is brought to you by the Fundamental Human Rights and Protection, who say your rights matter and they're there to protect them for you. Well, straight away we're going into our world, but still we go into Ghana, where there is a situation that is still not, it's still holding down everybody. Well, there was a price rise in the petroleum fuels. Well, that not only happened here in Uganda, but also Ghana, imagine as a victim, they're also experiencing the same problem where the petroleum fuels increased, and that called upon other transportation or the commercial transportation services going on a sit-down strike, and they're not transporting people, and this has affected all over business. It even has affected people. People have been they were seen on the streets moving and walking all over. The officials say that they're doing everything they can do. Amidst that situation, what the government came in, at least they reduced the rate to $0.12. That is still a little bit less, though they still promise, and they say they're going to increase they're going to bring down the rates come next year, the next budget. That's when they will at least reduce these rates.
Yes. Now, of course, this has brought about what's being called a sit-down strike, and this is nationwide for several reasons. You know, with the increase in fuel prices, it means the transport fares have also hiked, and they have hiked tremendously. Yeah, we have gotten some maps I'm going to share with you about some of these the routes that are taken by most people and why they are becoming very expensive. This is the reason because, you know, a very short distance that will take you from a nearby city to the airport is costing you about twice the usual fare. So in comparison here in Uganda, if you're moving from Kampala to Entebbe International Airport, you know, if you've hired probably a cab to take you to the airport, it will cost you about Ugandan shillings 100,000. But in comparison, this right now would take you about 150 to 200,000, which is, you know, a very, very big margin. Now, what I'm talking about is about around $50 or $60 if you are to convert it, which is, you know, a ridiculous amount of money. And this is the same situation which is happening in Nigeria, in Ghana, where, you know, Uber has actually hiked their prices, and people are starting to opt for, you know, commuter transport. Uber,
Bolt, and also other local commercial services. But now we have also seen other, well, in relation to that, when that emergency arose and the other commercial because business has to continue. You need to transport goods.
True.
And even you need to transport, maybe even if the doctors, you need to transport them from one place to another. And in relation to that, we saw some of the local bus station or the operator known as the Oyololo came in, and the manager came in and they said hey, they're going to help out, and they provided at least 110 buses but specified for only 5 routes. And you know the routes this, we have the Kasoa Accra, we have the Bandina Accra, the Tema Accra, we have the Amasamaman Accra, then you have also the Aishaman Accra. These are only 5 routes. How about those other routes where people need to go and carry out the work? Well, hopefully they come out with a solution, because when you talk about come next year, that is so far. Now we all are aware that this is however much for us, we didn't come back and we strike, but now in Ghana they didn't sit on it. They said, hey, we can't move anything, because we all know the business moves all over the fuel. If you raise or if you hike the fuel prices, what do you expect?
Yeah. But I mean, these some of the routes that have been listed here that this very company is going to take on are all routes that are leading into the city. So these are the routes that are major highways leading into the city. In Uganda, I'll give you a comparison of the Mukono Kampala. We're looking at that's the same as Jinja. Then you're looking at Masaka Kampala. You're looking at Mityana Kampala, and so many others. But yeah, this company has come out and it's offering this number of buses to take these routes, at least to mitigate what is happening. But still, this is not enough. It's not enough for the entire country, because this is a national emergency, world countrywide. And at the same time, you're looking at the Bolt fares, Bolt, Uber, and the other service companies that are working in Ghana. To be specific, in Accra, the prices have become very ridiculous that people have begun using these cargo trucks as means of transport, because they carry big numbers and probably are offering a fair amount of money. At the same time, even the public transport, we're talking about the tuk-tuks and the matatus or taxis. They have these are public taxis. They have also sit down and they're like, okay, these fuel prices are ridiculous. We can't afford them. At the same time, even if we put these fares on the customers, they most likely won't pay them. So they have also put down the tools and they're not driving. And this is causing an uproar around the whole country. It's causing an uproar, from the citizens and whoever. Of course, everybody uses public transport. And everybody uses transport. Yeah.
Not everybody uses public. There are those who use their private means. Yeah. So if in case you are using a private, that means it favors. But however, it doesn't still favor, because you need also pay that extra amount of money to purchase the fuel. But now the people who suffer the most are these people who use the public means. Because however much the person may be willing to pay higher, however much it affects them, but still there is nowhere the car can be found. Yeah. So we live the hope the government does more something, because we all know the government works for the people and they're there to serve them. And we go into other news where we're still on the new Omicron and the COVID case in the UK, where the UK came in and it's being criticized for putting countries on their red list. And they have put at least the travel appetite on Nigeria. Well, not only UK, because even you have seen other countries that have put a red list on other countries. For example, South Africa is one of them, and South Africa, in our earlier news, say they came in and say they're not happy because they're the ones who came in and they found out, or they discovered the new Omicron. Why are they being punished for doing so? But now not only South Africa, but even Nigeria came in and they're like, really, you're doing this, and they're criticizing UK for putting other countries on the red list. Yes. Now, some of the countries that are put on the red list, we're going to display for them there on your screen for you. But some of the countries that have been put on the red list, as they display them to you there, I'm going to be reading them. So the US has put Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, and Zimbabwe on their red list. So that means everybody who is coming from these countries into the US has to either go through a mandatory quarantine, at the same time has to take a mandatory COVID test on arrival, or there is a total ban for flights from these countries into the US. In the UK, we have Angola, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria. Here Nigeria appears, then we have South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe.
South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Zambia are all on these on the red list for most of these countries. In Canada, we have Botswana, we have Egypt. Surprising, even Egypt is on Canada's red list. We have Itswini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. All of these countries are on the red list of US, UK, and Canada. This is the reason being that, for example, the South African countries, Southern African countries, we're looking at the likes of South Africa, Botswana. This is where the new variant, the Omicron variant, came from, originated, which is it was first discovered in Botswana, and then most countries have put these countries on a red list. That means travel from these countries is restricted, and if you manage to move from this country, probably from using different routes, as we covered the story for you, most of the passengers who were stuck in South Africa were looking for alternative ways of getting out of South Africa and heading back home. And what they would do is take an alternative route, probably go into a country which is not on the red list, then after that charter another aircraft back to their country. But at the same time, if you're found that you actually moved from this country, probably from an alternative route, you are still going to go under mandatory quarantine, and you have to take a COVID test. This is mandatory despite of your origin, and at the same time despite your vaccination status. So even if you have vaccinated fully, you have to take a mandatory COVID test, and at the same time you have to be quarantined for some time. And this is what is causing an uproar, from these countries and, the world at large, because the question is this unfair? And, the World Health Organization came out and said, this is some sort of appetite, travel appetite. We have a clip that we're going to play for you, during an interview with the World Health Organization, and we're talking about this because, it's sort of unfair for some of these countries to be put on the red list just because they have had 1 or 2 cases. I don't know. I sort of agree with that. I've been agreeing with it from the very beginning. But, let me play for you the video, then we shall talk more about it after the video has played. Here is the video for you.
The people of Africa cannot be blamed for the immorally low level of vaccinations available to them, nor should they be collectively punished for identifying and sharing crucial science and health information with the world. With a virus that is truly borderless, travel restrictions that isolate any one country or region are not only deeply unfair and punitive, they are ineffective. I appeal to all governments to consider instead repeated testing for travelers together with other appropriate and truly effective measures, and this is the only way to reduce the risk of transmission while allowing for travel and economic engagement. This is a very strong appeal that I launch, appeal to common sense. We have the instruments to have safe travel. Let's use those instruments to avoid this kind of, allow me to say, travel apartheid.
Yes, with that is what the World Health Organization had to say about that, because, it is being termed as appetite. Appetite is simply segregation, They're terming it as appetite because you're segregating who is supposed to travel, who is supposed to move and who is not supposed to move. But as we have seen, these are not the only countries. Here we have only spoken about US, UK, and Canada. But the other countries that have actually put bans on these countries, we're looking at Germany, we're looking at Czech Republic, and also, say, you know what, for whoever is coming from these specific countries, please stay where you are. And this has raised an uproar, and at the same time is being termed as appetite. But leaving that, we are still talking about COVID, and we go into Italy, where Italy has come out and put restrictions on unvaccinated humans, unvaccinated individuals. We saw this. It's now becoming a trend, and it's a little bit frightening, where now it's going to become very, very harsh for you to actually step out of the house if you're not vaccinated. We saw previously where the World Health Organization came out and said, it should become mandatory for everyone to vaccinate. At the same time, there was the proposal of vaccinating even the children. But yes, Italy has come out and also put several restrictions on, you know, unvaccinated individuals, where, you know, if you're not vaccinated, you're not going to get out of your house. If you're not vaccinated, you're not going to go into public places. If you're not vaccinated, you're not allowed to do a lot of stuff.
Well, this reminds me of another country that is similar to what Italy is doing. Italy just comes in, it's like just similar to Germany. Germany also, the Prime Minister came in, or the minister in charge of health came in, they said, it's either you're vaccinated or, because we all know the fight on COVID-19 is not taking only one person, but it's a struggle for everybody. So it's either you have succumbed to COVID-19, or you are a survivor, or you were there waiting for the disease. So he said there is no way out for you unless you are vaccinated. So it's either you're vaccinated or you are dead. There is no option out. There is no option that will rule you out. So in relation to Italy, it should even go to every person out there, because various countries, or some countries within the community and other people, have shunned away from vaccinating, not because they don't want to be vaccinated, but there are those myths around vaccination. Yesterday we are talking about South Africa itself, where the people themselves, it's only a few percentage that have been vaccinated. Others are saying in case they're vaccinated, they're not sure even if after their vaccination they will still be alive, because there are those who are vaccinated but still there. But we said it's either just do what you're supposed to do. Try to, because life is all about, in case they tell you this will save you, will do anything to save your life.
That is true.
So it does no harm to try what they give you. Follow the SOPs, go for vaccination.
That is true. But yes, vaccination is still the talk of the season, and we are still in COVID. Despite whichever variant we are under attack from, we are still in COVID, and you're still advised to, you know, follow the SOPs, wear your mask, wash your hands regularly, get vaccinated. That is the talk, and it's going to be the cry until we're all safe from COVID, or we're all safe from the new variant, which is the Omicron. And before that, you know, the talk is still going to be vaccinate. But leaving COVID, we jump into the Olympics, which are going to happen in Beijing, where the US has boycotted the event. That means no leaders are going to appear in this event, and this is in a protest of the human rights alleged human rights violation that is happening in Beijing. We saw the disappearance of Olympic gold medalist Peng from one of the Olympic events, who later appeared and said, you know, made allegations that she was sexually assaulted by one of Chinese top officials. And yes, now the US has come on board and said, you know what, for us, we are not going to participate in these Olympic Games because of this and this and that. We have a video clip that we're going to play for you that covered this very event and why US is boycotting the Beijing Olympics, which is supposed to happen at the end of this year. These are the Winter Olympics, and yeah, US is vouching not to take part in these Olympic Games. Here is a video that was covered about this very event. Please do enjoy.
When the Olympic flame is lit in Beijing, American athletes will be there to compete, but neither President Biden nor any other US officials will be attending. The White House announcing a diplomatic boycott of the Games to protest China's human rights abuses, including crushing the democracy movement in Hong Kong, threatening Taiwan, what the U.S. calls genocide against the minority Uyghurs, and the recent disappearance of tennis star Peng Shuai after she accused a top Beijing official of sexual assault. Human rights groups wanted a total boycott, as Jimmy Carter did in 1980, when he kept athletes home from the Moscow Olympics after the Soviets invaded Afghanistan. Others disagree. Senator Romney, is a diplomatic boycott the way to go? Some members of both parties want a complete boycott, including the athletes.
I don't feel that the burden of our international policies should fall on the shoulders of these young people. So let's make our statement loud and clear through not sending diplomats to Beijing.
Still, Beijing's response today immediate and furious, calling it an offense to China's 1.4 billion people. A spokesman saying, if the U.S. is insistent on going down the wrong path, China will take necessary and resolute countermeasures. Despite talk of a new Cold War between the U.S. and China, Washington needs China to pressure Iran against going nuclear and to work on trade and climate change. But the White House is under heavy pressure from both parties in Congress to get tougher with Beijing.
Thanks for watching our YouTube.
what we had for you to cover the boycott by the US, you know, in relationship to the Olympics that is supposed to take place, the Winter Olympics which are supposed to take place in Beijing.
But I like their response when it comes to the side of the Chinese, because I've been reading it and I'm like, really, these people really don't care. You know what they said? Well, in response to what the US the announcement, the Chinese embassy in Washington, this is where they said, well, the grave to distortion, this is just a grave to distortion of the spirit of the Olympic character. No one would care about whether these people come or not. It has no impact whatsoever on the Beijing 2020 Winter Olympics to be successfully to be held, said the spokesperson Liu Pengui. He quoted in the well, that. But I would say them boycotting, at least did they first talk to them? Like, did they raise a solution before they boycotted?
Well, a lot of complaints have been raised against human rights violation in China, and I think this is why the US is taking a stand. But of course, you know, it is taking a stand, but at the same time, we're looking at it now, it is becoming more political than sport. It's focusing more on politics. But I think this is of course a big event, and by them actually coming out and doing this on such a big event, it shows you that, you know, it's going to be global and it's going to get attention from everyone around the world. But anyways, while we're still in the world of sports, we come back here to Africa. We come back to Kenya, one of East Africa's countries, where we are celebrating our very own for winning the Valencia marathon. This was taking place in Valencia, and Kenya's Lawrence Chirono took first place and breaking a record of 2 hours 05 seconds and 12 microseconds. And yes, he brought home a gold medal, and at the same time his female counterpart, also Nancy Jelegete, also brought home a gold medal for Kenya, and we celebrate them for that. We have a clip for you that we're going to share with you that covered this very event, so please do watch with me.
It was a double win for Kenya in Valencia's marathon. Lawrence Chirono celebrated victory in the men's race with Kenya's flag. Ethiopians Chalu Desu Gelmisa took second place. In the women's race, Kenya's Nancy Yelagat also celebrated victory. Second place was taken by Ethiopians pair Etegenye Waldu Mamu and Beyenu Degefa. It was a double win for Kenya in Valencia's marathon. Lawrence Chirono.
That's what was covered in that event. Kenya managed to fly the flag high by bringing home 2 gold medals from the Valencia marathon. Now, while we're still in sports, we leave that sport and we go into Premier League, where Arsenal had to play Everton as of yesterday. There was a lot of anticipation around this very match, in hopes that Arsenal would beat Everton and gain its place in 4th place on the Premier League table, but they did not manage to accomplish that goal, and they were thrashed 2-1 by Everton. This is going to bring a lot of news. I mean, a lot of speech between Arsenal. Arsenal and Man U have been, especially the fans, have been going head to head about who is the best and who is performing better here and there. But we have seen the results. Man U won their match, and Arsenal has gone down with a thrashing, and they're gaining spots on the back end of the table. But yes, that is what's happened in the world of sports. We are going to be bringing you more of these stories as they arise, because these are some of the stories that we cover here on Behold Africa. Do not forget, Behold Africa comes to you live every single day, Monday to Friday, live from 7 a.m. So by the time you just kick out of bed, just turn on your data, go on YouTube or Facebook. We shall be live. If you have not subscribed, please do subscribe. If you have not turned on that notification icon, do turn on that notification icon to be notified every time we go live.
And we appreciate those who are viewing us live, and even those who started way back exactly 7 you're watching us here in live. We appreciate. We have seen also various comments from people who are there earlier talking about that they engage into the discussion that we talked about the malaria fight being replaced with the COVID-19 fight. Now I'm seeing Habib is commenting and he says malaria has to be taken serious in African continent. But also he went ahead and he was also relating. He was engaging himself into the discussion of the miniskirt. Well, the Bishop Stuart University, they said, hey, we are putting a ban on miniskirts. No student is allowed to put on a miniskirt on the main campus. Be it you are putting on dreads, no coming in the schools with the sandals. Now, Habib said, well, in my concern is who determines a miniskirt? And he was asking you, Jude.
Who determines a miniskirt?
Yeah.
I think this is a dictionary explanation. What is a miniskirt? We all know what a miniskirt is. As I've defined
because
it.
He said, e.g., a Muslim considers a miniskirt to anybody apart on a lady seen above the toe.
Now look, it shouldn't come to religious or religious beliefs or common sense. This is just totally common sense. Habib, thank you for raising that comment. But to make it clear, I'm not talking about in aspects of religion where the Muslims consider it differently and the Christians will consider it differently. I'm taking into consideration that Bishop Stuart University is actually an Anglican university. I'm not taking that into consideration and bringing something that I take into consideration, which is common sense, and it is public logic, which is a mini skirt is simply a skirt that is above your knees. That's it. As long as it's above your knees, that is a miniskirt. I'm not taking into consideration the logic of religion. That is the perception, and that is what it is. Public logic, not religious logic. If you can go on Google or in your dictionary and probably find out more on what a miniskirt is. That's what I recommend to you. But that's what I can tell you for now about miniskirts.
Well, that marks the end of this show, but don't forget, you're still on Behold Africa, and Behold Africa as you're winding up. We remind you, for those you need computer literacy training services, and maybe you need ICT, you need internet services, you can go to Muloza Computer Training Service, Computer Training Center. They're located on Kasanalo Welo. You can get them on their number, which is 077 0707536. Well, this marks the end of our show, but we always end this show with an African proverb that you don't need to miss and something to learn and pick out.
Yes, it is an African theme based show. So at the end of the show, we bring to you an African proverb and what it translates to, so that you can take something home, or take something into consideration as as an African, or as anyone in general. Now, today's African proverb states, "A fool who owns an ox is seldom recognized as a fool." What does this mean? Now I'm going to just read this, and then I will bring you something else. A fool who owns an ox is seldom recognized a fool. This is almost similar as the one that says a barking dog seldom bites. Now, what does this specific African proverb translate to? A guy who has money might not seem at first to be a stupid guy, but stupid people usually get recognized in the end, often when it is too late. This is very true. If you have money, you might always camouflage to be smart, but in the end, it comes out. This is the so be you know to have, no matter what acts you have, be you the very core to be the very end. Because if you masquerade to be what you're not, then it's not at the end. It usually gets ugly.
Well, that even reminds me, when you talk about people, we have seen various girls who have fallen trap in this. Why you see a man and you judge them by their appearance, not knowing they have. Well, take into consideration that this person comes and they are interested in you, they show interest, but because of their appearance, maybe trading and not knowing they have lots of car parking in their compound, you underestimate them. But also you people out there it goes back to also you people who want to cover up who you are. Sometimes people need to first appreciate. You need to see the reaction of somebody, even if you are how you approach them. Let us see the reaction. So you just have to be yourself, as Jude said.
True. Now, this marks the end of the show, but for those of you who are traveling, we are going to be playing for you some of the regulations, especially those of you living here in Uganda. Uganda is an African country, and as we have covered some of the stories, there are a lot of sanctions on African countries. We're going to be playing for you a video at the end of the show as we wind up about the rules and regulations that some of the international airports in several countries, for example, the US, the UK, and Canada, that have put up. They have put up, of course, new rules in relation to the Omicron variant. So we're going to leave that video playing for you as we wind up the show. This has been Behold Africa. It is still a Tuesday morning. Tomorrow is going to be a Wednesday. I hope to see you then. Thank you for keeping it locked on Behold Africa. Thank you for staying with us till the very end. I thank you and I appreciate you. I have been your host, Jude Lane, and my co-host, Nabshaw Brenda. See you tomorrow. Please do watch. Bye-bye.
UK, all passengers, including those visiting countries exempt from self-isolation requirements, are reminded to complete the government's passenger locator form